Today is April 7th, 2025, and I just finished my sticker tray today, and I wanted to show you how I made it. Earlier this year, you might remember on my blog, I did an interview with the good Chad, and my main reason for wanting to talk to Chad was he did an entire sticker table, which was huge. He ended up using about 1,000 stickers on his project, and I used about 58. So I just want to acknowledge that Chad inspired me to do this project. My project is different from Chad's in a lot of little ways. Like, Chad actually uses his table for projects and to work on, and my tray is just basically a placeholder for books and my bookbinding machine. I had a rough idea of where I wanted to put the stickers, and I even wrote out a little map, but in the end that did not matter, so I thought it would be fun if I took my rough idea and then showed you actually how it ended up, and they are not very similar. I wanted to do this at the beginning of the year around the time of Chad's interview, but on January 12th, my shower curtain rod decided to fall down and hit me in the head. And I believe I had a concussion, but it was so wintry out that I never actually got checked. And that made it very difficult to do anything, let alone sit there and concentrate on this. So this project took me 2 weeks to do, but I think had this been a few years ago, I probably would have got it done in half that time. So this was really a lesson in pacing myself. I also ordered a lot of new stickers because I knew I wouldn't have enough to cover this, and that was probably the hardest thing, to wait for the stuff to come in the mail because they came from other countries. I did use Etsy and Redbubble, and I really liked Redbubble. I've never tried them before, and Sticker App. And Sticker App was a fiasco because they delivered it to the wrong apartment, and I didn't know if I was going to get them back, but they came, and thank goodness. When I first started, I tried to find stickers that had straight edges, or basically were squares or rectangles, to do the outside of the tray. I tried to think of it as a puzzle, and if I were to put a puzzle together, I would do the outside edges first or the border. It was easier said than done with this project because nowadays people have so many different ways to make stickers, whether that's with a Cricut or online, and it's so easy to make a fun shape, and I think people do that more often now than make rectangles and squares. I just wanted to take a little video here. I'm very pleased with this spot, how well it lined up on the edge, because this is where I started. Everything's going well with Frog and Toad. Except everything did not go well with Frog and Toad. I messed up and there was a gap between the skeleton and their sticker. So at first I thought it would be okay to cut up a little white piece and stick it in there, and now I find it's very noticeable. And then after that, if I had a little gap like that, I just took a white gel pen and colored it in. Also, the stickers that are in the four corners, so Frog and Toad, Mickey and Minnie, the Uno card, and the floppy disk did not want to stay down, and I think that's just because the tray itself has round corners, and that's just a difficult spot. Eventually, I might just have to put a little bit of tape there. I did use glue for some of these, despite the fact that they're stickers and they should stick. Some don't, and they just need that little bit of reinforcement. You can see I'm fidgeting with this mixtape sticker, and that was because I didn't know it was clear, and I didn't like that you could see the wood underneath the cassette tape, because the whole point of this was to not see the wood. So I did add another little white piece in here, but it looks better than Frog and Toad. If you can't tell already, this was a very meticulous job, and I took pride in taking my time and lining everything up properly. Sometimes I'll see pictures or videos of people's laptops where they've just slapped everything on, and I can't do that. A lot of my stickers have words, and so I want to make sure that people can read everything clearly. As well, I paid particular attention to the shapes, so you'll notice there's like almost no round things on here, and that goes back to the straight edges. Like, if it didn't fit, I didn't put it there. That was a really big disappointment for me because, as I said, most stickers are fun shaped, and I wasn't able to use a lot of them just because I wasn't comfortable. And I think people don't understand that when you put in hours and hours of work, you just don't want to like throw things on, especially if you're going to have to look at it every day for the rest of your life. There were a few instances where I actually glued stickers down, and then later, like even like days later, I was like, oh, I don't like this. It's ugly. How do I get it off? And just luckily they did come off and didn't wreck anything else. So like on my initial map, I wrote down white ice cream cone. So I was bound and determined that it was going to fit on there, and it did not. I could have made it work, but I think at the time everything else was like overlapping it, and then you wouldn't see it anyways. So style wise, it was just easier to stick with cartoons. I have other stickers that are like photographs of animals, and they just didn't blend in, I thought. For a long time, the tray felt like a tale of two Wednesdays because I ordered a Wednesday Addams sticker on Etsy, and it said it wasn't going to come until May, and I just thought that was too long. I wanted to get it done now, so I ordered a backup one, and then the first one ended up coming like just after I started the tray, and it was really hard to decide which one to use. When I finished the tray, I was very hesitant to do the varnishing process, and I actually hated it after the first coat because I used a paintbrush and that made it streaky, and also a scraper. And then I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but I have a paint roller and so I did that on the third coat and it looked much better. I used two different types of varnish from Michaels and mostly used the one on the left. The one on the right they don't make anymore, but I did see there is a very similar one on Amazon. I like the one on the right better because I found it give it a better shine, but I only had such a little bit that I mixed them together on the third coat. I would have liked to do another coat to make it shinier, I guess, but because the Minnie and Mickey sticker and the egg sticker were paper, I couldn't do much more with it or they probably would have torn. I do think these varnishes are just meant for crafts and they're not like what you would put on a door, and I do worry that over time it would probably just wash off, but like I'm just using it to put books on, so I don't really mind. Once the varnish started looking a little better, I felt relieved because I was really angry that I put in all that work and I kind of thought it looked like poop. Would I do it again? Absolutely. I'm already planning the next thing. Like my mom asked me, what are you going to do after this? And I was like, I'm not doing that again. But then I remembered I had a little table in my room that's actually like a lap tray. And so I want to do that. But I have to rebuild my collection first. So if there's any people out there like bands or entertainers or creatives that want to send me some stickers, send me a message and we'll figure it out. Quickly before I go, I just want to say this does not have to be an expensive project unless you want it to. Some stickers do cost more money, but some are practically free. So do what you like.